What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Pay, and today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the recent stuff that just went down with Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Drake. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. Kendrick Lamar just made a surprise return and pretty much set the rap world ablaze. Now, Kendrick returned on the project We Don't Trust You by Future and Metro Boomin, and he was a surprise feature on the song Like That, and he basically went at the other two members of the big three, that being J. Cole and Drake. More so Drake than J. Cole, but this kind of set off a rap civil war that's been brewing for a while now, and it's really kind of started more so with Drake and Metro Boomin, and now it seems like everyone in the industry is picking sides. Now, a lot of people already had their own previous beefs with Drake, but this moment and this little beef that he has with Metro Boomin has kind of been the catalyst for this official civil war in rap. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what this beef kind of means for the big three and what it means for the other two's legacy, that being Drake and Cole. And of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about Kendrick as well. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on Kendrick in this video because he was more so the aggressor in the situation, even though he is responding to a lot of the stuff on first-person shooter. So it is a response, but it's a very aggressive response. It's kind of like if you guys got into an argument and somebody called you stupid and then you pushed that person. You know, like you were responding, but you responded on a different level of aggression. But I'm not going to spend too much time on Kendrick. I think this was a master class in dissing. I think this was a beautiful, well-executed plan by Kendrick. I think everything went the exact way you'd want it to. The diss was impactful, it was meaningful, and not only that, it does well numbers-wise, and it's probably going to be the #1 song in America once this week is up. So everything on Kendrick's side of things really went well, but also I want to say this about specifically the Michael Jackson, the Prince bar, Prince and Michael Jackson, Prince outlived Mike Jack. People are taking this a little too far, okay? They're taking it a little too far. I think when Kendrick brought this up, it was really more so to say that, like, yeah, you have the numbers and stuff, but I'm the artist, right? Now, he wasn't actually directly trying to discredit Michael Jackson's legacy. A lot of people have been on Twitter doing this, being like, Michael Jackson really wasn't even all that. Like, Prince was really... Stop. You don't have to disrespect Michael Jackson just because you don't like Drake, okay? Stop right there. We're not going to do that with MJ's legacy. Now, you know, Drake has been comparing himself to Michael Jackson, which is also why the bar works. Drake's been saying, you know, I'm one away from Michael. He's always posting about Michael Jackson. He really likes to compare himself to Michael Jackson. And Kendrick has actually compared himself to Prince in the past. He's a big fan of him. So the whole comparison makes sense. People are just taking it a little bit too far. Like, you know, I get that, you know, Kendrick is discrediting Drake and saying that, you know, he's not really that well respected and he's not really an artist for real, but don't apply this to Michael Jackson. Please leave it out the way, okay? The bar was just simply meant to say that Drake has the numbers, but he's really the artist, and he wasn't really given a deep commentary on the Michael Jackson and Prince rivalry. But Kendrick in his verse really highlighted the fact that he thinks he's the one. There is no big three, it's just him. The other two aren't in his league. He's way better than them, and not only is he better than them, but he has way more respect than both of them. Kendrick essentially came in and snatched both of their chains. And this isn't the first time that Kendrick has done something like this. If you look into his verse on Control years ago, like 10 years ago, or the BET Cypher, like Kendrick does this all the time, but this was very calculated. This was on purpose. This was planned. This wasn't just him being mad at Drake and Cole and just like spitting. Like, no, he did this with a purpose. He's daring them to respond. This is bait. This is classic bait. He's like, I dare you to respond. I wish you would respond. That's what this was. This was bait to get both of them to come outside and play, even though Kendrick has been the one who hasn't been coming outside and play. But you get what I'm saying. Like, this was bait, okay? And Kendrick didn't do this without a plan. I think a lot of people have been saying this, and I agree with them. I think that Kendrick has something up his sleeve. Not necessarily like some breaking news about them, kind of like when Pusha T announced that Drake had a kid. I don't think it's anything like that. But in terms of like a diss, Kendrick has something up his sleeve. He has something waiting for both of them, okay? He's not coming in here unarmed, unplanned. He's got something in his hard drive right now that would fry both of them, or at least he's very confident would fry both of them. So that's why he's doing this. This isn't just him randomly coming at them. He's coming at them like, hey, y'all were talking a little, you know, y'all talking kind of crazy. So like, we can do this if you want to do this. All you got to do is sign this dotted line right here and we can get into it. And I think that's what he's doing. And I'm not going to give you a breakdown of every bar on the verse. You can go do that on your own or watch another person's video. But for me particularly, this was fire. This was a great verse. The bars were fire. They all had multiple meanings. They were all extremely good. You got to give your points to Kendrick on this round, I guess. I don't know if you compare this to first person shooter. You got to give him his points, okay? You can't deny it. I'm going to give him his flowers. This was a great verse. But there is something that needs to be said about Kendrick Lamar's inactivity, in my opinion. In my opinion, I got to deduct some points as well, because you can't just pop out once every 5 years and be like, yeah, I'm the best right now. Are you? Because I don't know. I don't know. Now, he did just drop Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers like 2 years ago, but that wasn't anything crazy. I mean, like, it was cool. It was good, but like, it wasn't anything crazy. So for me personally, while I do acknowledge the fact that this verse is great, I kind of look at it through, a different lens where I'm like, all right, man, like, it's cool. You kind of cooked the other two, but you haven't been around, bro. You haven't been popping out all the time. You haven't been dropping a whole bunch of music. So yeah, I mean, you can come in every now and then and do your thing, but like, I am gonna look at it a little bit differently in comparison to if you were here all the time and then you just were like, hey, I'm the best. These dudes aren't in my league. If you pop out every now and then, like, it's hard for me to discredit the guys who have been actively here when you haven't been. Now, of course, people are gonna be like, oh, well, Kendrick dropped an album more recently than Cole, but Cole has been dropping a whole bunch of music. He's been doing features and stuff. It's not like he takes 5 years off like Kendrick Lamar. In my opinion, I kind of compare this to like wrestling, and I do this in a lot of my videos because I grew up watching wrestling. I compare things to wrestling, but Kendrick Lamar to me is like a part-timer. He's like a superstar part-timer. He's great when he's here. We all love it. It's super exciting, but he's not here very often. It's kind of like Goldberg, right? When Goldberg, if you didn't know this, Goldberg came back not that long ago, a couple years ago, right? Goldberg comes back and he's doing his thing. Yeah, we're happy. Goldberg's here. And then he beats Kevin Owens for the world title. And we're like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, we love Goldberg, but like, he can't beat the guy that's here every single week, giving me work every single week. Again, he can do his thing, but like, I can't give you the rub over guys who are consistently here. That's my thing with Kendrick. Love his music. He's a great musician, but he's not consistently here. And that takes away some points, in my opinion. He's a part-timer. It's the truth. He is. He pops out occasionally. So for me, it's kind of like wrestling. Like, we love part-timers, but we don't always want to see them take the shine over the guys that are always here. Now, that's not for me to say that he can't come in and shit on Drake and Kendrick, or shit on Drake and Cole. He can do that. If they're going head-to-head, do that. But I do take some points away in that conversation of, oh, I'm just so much better than everyone, when you're not actively participating. You're like Kawhi Leonard from like 2020 to 2023. Like, you're kind of in and out, not really there. You're one of the best, but it's just like, bro, like, you get what I'm saying? But for Drake, in my opinion, this is everything. This beef right here means a lot, okay? It means a lot. I'm not going to say it means everything for his career, but it means a lot. And, as weird as it sounds for me to say, I agree a lot with what Academics was saying.
I like this. This is how dedicated I want my favorite rapper to be. Yo, Drake, no more tarts. No more. Yachty, stay in Atlanta. Hey, Brooke, whatever your name is, go hang with Lotto. Go twerk over there. It's wartime. No distractions on the fucking field. All y'all niggas been watering down my goat. We need my nigga in prime form. Women and children back up. Bender done. No more skits. It's over. It's time for beef. It's time for war.
Drake and Kendrick have been sending subtle shots at each other for a long time now, but nothing has ever been like too direct. Now, of course, Kendrick did say Drake's name on Control, but he kind of said everyone's name. So, it wasn't like he was directly going at Drake. But Drake, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. There's no way out of this one.
There's no way out of this one.
You got to compete. You have to. Drake in his career is 1-1 in major beefs, like major beefs. Of course, he sent shots at a whole bunch of different people, but like major beefs where they go back and forth, he's 1-1, and that's with Meek, and that's with Pusha T. He's won one and he's lost one, okay? And Kendrick is a guy that's on his level, so he has to compete in this instance. And a lot of what Kendrick said in his diss to Drake was very true. I think, well, I won't say it was true necessarily, but it was valid. There were valid points. Kendrick talked about having the respect. He said DOT money, power, respect, the last one is more important, or the last one is better, or something like that, right? Emphasizing respect. Because Kendrick has that respect from OG rappers, from pure rap fans, from the guys who really love the art that Drake never really had or never really has gotten. Now, Drake has gotten respect from the OGs and the pure rap fans, like he has. Don't get me wrong. But he didn't get it right away like Kendrick did. Kendrick came in and everyone was like, okay, this is the guy. They were like, this is the rapper. This is our rapper. This is the rap fans' rapper. This is the rapper's rapper. With Drake, at first they're like, he's cool, but, he's more pop and he does the singing stuff. But, we don't really know about Drake. Like, he's okay. And then eventually over time, they just kind of had to give in because he was number one numbers-wise. There was nothing you could do. It's Drake, right? So eventually they kind of bent to the will of Drake, but they never really wanted to give him that respect. And they still don't even all the way give Drake that respect. When you look at a guy like Mos Def just did an interview and said that Drake's music isn't even really hip hop to him.
Drake is
we're here
pop.
for truth. We're here for truth.
Drake is pop to me.
Right, that's fair. In the sense that it's charting like pop music, popular music.
In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song. So it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or it's
Commercial music,
shopping with an edge.
He said it's not even really hip hop. He said that it's music that you aggressively shop to in Target, which is absolutely hilarious because it's kind of true with the whole Drew Walls trend on like TikTok and stuff. It's funny because it's kind of true, but like you see like that there's just a level of respect that's not there for Drake that would never be brought when it comes to Kendrick. Or even Joe Budden on, a lot of Drake's recent stuff. He's like, bro, Drake's not even rapping. He's like, Drake's not really rapping for real. And these guys don't determine sales in rap. They're not going to determine how much you sell. Mos Def's opinion isn't going to change your career. And if he says your music's bad, it's not going to do that. But it determines a lot of the respect in rap, a lot of the respect from other rappers, a lot of the respect from real rap fans, a lot of the backpack rappers, backpack fans. That's what actually matters a lot to Drake. And I know it sounds ridiculous to say like these guys' opinions matters to Drake, but it does. Okay, Drake grew up wanting to be in that backpack rapper lane. He looked up to guys like Joe Budden. It matters to him. That's why Joe Budden can be the guy that puts the battery in his back to make him go make Scary Hours 3 and actually rap again. Because as much as he doesn't want to admit it, much as he's got all the money and all the recognition and stuff, that opinion does matter to Drake. It does. From guys like Joe Budden and that space of fans, it matters. It does. This beef puts Drake's all-time great legacy kind of into question, all right? It puts it in the air for there to be some cracks in the armor, okay? Because if he gets into this beef with Kendrick and he responds and he gets absolutely washed, or he just doesn't say anything at all, he just kind of, acts like he didn't hear it, I'm going to look at him differently. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to look at him differently because Kendrick basically walked up to J. Cole and Drake, smacked the shit out of both of them and said, I'm better than both of y'all. Y'all don't want no problems with me. And if Drake just backs down from that, I have to look at you differently, bro. I do. Okay? How can I put you in these all-time great conversations? How can I put you in the GOAT conversation if you're not even going to respond to somebody like Kendrick? Because that is what rap is founded on, okay? The competition, the going back and forth. Who's really the better rapper? That's what rap is kind of founded on. All right? Just like in other sports, right? Like in boxing, right? It's founded on the tough guy, the trash talk, the shit talk back and forth. I'm the better man than you. That's what the sport is founded on. So when guys start ducking other boxers, it makes them look bad. People start to question it. That's part of the sport. And the same goes with rap, okay? If this guy comes up to you, puts his finger in your face and says, I'm better than you, I can out-rap you, and you back down? How am I supposed, that's crazy, is it not? Even J. Cole said it himself on that podcast with Lil Yachty. He comes from a different era of rap. Him and Drake come from a different era of rap. They're really competing for real. And that's why he was like, I understand, Yachty, you're from a different generation, but our generation, we compete. He doesn't respond and he tugs tail. I'm not going to lie. I am going to look at him differently. Drake has already lost a rap beef before with Pusha T. But that doesn't mean like you can't be the GOAT, like you're kicked out of that conversation. You can't be one of the greatest ever because look at somebody like Jay-Z. So losing a rap beef doesn't mean that like your career's done and you can never be respected. That's not what that means. But the way Drake kind of backed out of the last beef was very strange, right? Because we got the story of Adidon. Oh my God, Drake has a kid and he's roasting everything about Drake. He's even roasting Drake's sick producer. Like he went hard on Drake. And Drake goes, I just never wanted to respond because I was going to take it to a place that was too far. And the diss track was going to take it to a place that was too far. It was just so horrible and just so bad that like I didn't release it because I didn't want to bring myself to that level. And to me, I'm not going to lie, that's always sounded like Cope. I'm not going to lie. Maybe he's right. Maybe he was saying some foul stuff on there. I don't know. It just sounded a little bit like Cope to me. I'm not going to lie. It sounded a little bit like, it sounded like a bluff. It did. But who knows? Maybe he really did have a crazy diss song that was going to take it too far. But when you look at the last two Drake opponents, that being Meek Mill and Pusha T, there was a very obvious like avenue for Drake to win the beef, right? With Meek, he could out-rap Meek. He could out-rap Meek. And also Meek is just like a super easy target for memes and jokes. Like Meek is kind of not an easy target in terms of a rap beef, but like in terms of like being made fun of, he's a super easy target. And Drake could out-rap him still. So Meek, there were very, very many different like ways to win for Drake, right? There's different avenues to victory. For Pusha T, out-rapping Pusha was going to be, way harder than out-rapping Meek. I'm not going to lie. Drake could still do it, but it was going to be a way tougher challenge. But on the other hand, Drake was way bigger than Pusha, right? Drake is he's 20 times the size of a rapper that Pusha is. So even though Drake did end up losing the beef, at least in most people's eyes, who are looking at it pretty objectively and trying to be fair, Drake is at such a high level in his career in comparison to Pusha T that it's like, well, he's still, the big dog. He's still number one in rap. Like, yeah, Pusha may have won the little back and forth or whatever, but his career is way better than Pusha's, which has been a lot of the cope from people. So, even though, again, he lost the beef to Pusha, he still had that avenue of being like, well, look at my numbers, look at your numbers, look at my show prices, look at your show prices. So, he kind of still had that thing of like, I may have lost, but like, I'm the bigger guy. I'm the bigger man. And with Meek, it was just like he could out-rap Meek and he could joke on Meek and like make a hit out of Meek because Meek was kind of an easy target. But Kendrick's like the perfect Drake opponent if you wanted somebody to beat him. Because Drake can't do what he did to Meek to Kendrick, right? Because like he can't just like kind of clown Kendrick and try to make like a hit out of the diss song because we don't really care about a hit right now. We don't. We want to see the lyrical back and forth between the two of them. And if Drake goes into this like diss song thing with the mindset that he went into the Meek one where he's trying to make more of a hit song while also dissing him, but still really focusing on the hit aspect, it's going to prove everything that Kendrick said about him right? Because Kendrick already said like, look, bro, you do your thing with the numbers. That's cool. But I got the respect. I got the respect and I got the real skills. I got the real artistry. You can have the numbers, but I'm really the rapper. And so if Drake goes into it with the Meek thing and tries to make a hit song and try to make it sound cute and get it played in the clubs, it's going to prove everything Kendrick said right. And if he tries to go about it kind of like the Pusha T route where he's like, you know what? I'm the bigger man. Like, I don't have to worry about that. Pusha T, he's a little dog, right? He can't little dog Kendrick because no disrespect to Pusha T. Like, I don't mean to be rude, but like Pusha is not on Drake's level commercially or anywhere near it. Not even close. Not even remotely close. Wow, but Kendrick is. Kendrick's not, directly competing with Drake in terms of numbers because nobody really is in rap at the moment, right? But he's there. He's got a huge career. He's a huge mainstream worldwide superstar. He may not be Drake in terms of numbers, but his numbers are great. His career is perfectly fine. He does hundreds of thousands on every album. Matter of fact, the song that he just dissed Drake on is probably gonna go number one. So it's not even like he can play the whole like, that's a little man. Like he needs me. I'm not even really like, ain't nobody worried about him. Like his career is in shambles. Look at my career. He can't play that type of game with Kendrick. Drake has to respond with a lyrical retaliation that is worthy of recognition in the rap space because Drake has been running around calling himself the GOAT, comparing himself to Michael Jackson, and you can't do that when another GOAT level competitor steps up to you in Kendrick Lamar and you back down and you just kind of ignore it and you act like it didn't happen. You act like you didn't see it because Kendrick Lamar basically walked up to Drake, grabbed him by his collar of his shirt and put a diamond tester on his career. And now we're waiting to see if the diamond tester rings off or if it doesn't. right? Because if Drake kind of doesn't respond to Kendrick, he would kind of be proving a lot of what people have been saying about him, people in specifically in this case being haters, right? I'm not a Drake hater. I love Drake. But like the Drake haters, what do you hear from the Drake haters whenever they talk about him and they're kind of disrespecting him? He's not really a rapper for real. He's more of a R&B pop star. He's more of a pop star. He wants to sing for real. He can't really rap like that. Like, you know, Drake's kind of like Taylor Swift of rap. Like, he's not really in it for the art. Drake's kind of, you know, he's not really a competitor. He don't really get down lyrically. And he would never respond to Kendrick Lamar because he knows Kendrick is way better than him and that he would cook him. That's the type of stuff you hear. And Drake kind of backing away from that, even though that doesn't mean that he's confirming all those beliefs. That's going to be the narrative. So this moment, this beef for Drake is legacy defining almost, in my opinion. Now, an unspoken for part of this beef is really kind of what it means for J. Cole, because everyone is making J. Cole kind of play third fiddle again, right? They're looking at J. Cole, and throughout the history of this whole Big Three conversation, J. Cole, for the most part, has been looked at as like the weak link or the guy who, you know, doesn't really compete with the other two. That's just how most people have looked at the conversation. I know some people will count out Drake and be like, Drake's a pop star, he's not really a rapper, but a lot of people like to make Cole kind of play third fiddle. And he was also dissed in this little verse from Kendrick Lamar. Like, I know him and Kendrick seem to have been cool for a long time now, and there's really not any issues there, at least that we know of publicly, but he was dissed here as well, so he should be expected to respond as well. And for me, on a personal level, I have a lot of love for J. Cole. No Diddy, okay? I have a lot of love for J. Cole because J. Cole was really like my first favorite rapper, right? When I was growing up, of course, I listened to Wayne and all that other stuff that my parents were playing, 50 Cent, all that. But like the one that I first attached myself to and I was like, man, I love this guy, was J. Cole. J. Cole was my first favorite rapper. And it's always bothered me that people kind of discredit him in this Big Three conversation. It's always kind of made me be like, like, come on, man. Like, J. Cole, he's in there with those other two. And this is the moment when everyone's kind of overlooking Cole. Everyone's talking about, oh my God, Drake Kendrick. Drake Kendrick. Of course, they're talking about Cole too, but mostly it's Drake and Kendrick. This is the time to blow everyone out of the water. This is the time to make everyone shut the hell up finally, because I've been waiting on it, all right? I've been waiting on it. Cole's done his thing, Kendrick's done his thing, Drake's done his thing, but there's always been that little slight to Cole. Cole's always been like the redheaded stepchild of the three. And so this is the time. Because if J. Cole responds, you can't, some people are like, Drake can't respond. He's not lyrically good enough to respond. Cole is. I don't care what anyone says. I think Drake is too, but Cole is for sure. So this is the time for Cole to kind of maybe branch out of that little that redheaded stepchild role of the Big Three. This is the time. Cole has been preparing for the drop of what he's called, or what is apparently his final album, The Fall Off. And, you know, he's been kind of doing his whole rollout thing, and he's been kind of going peaceful about it, and he seems like he just kind of wants to bow out peacefully, drop a great album, and then go do other things. But Kendrick has thrown a wrench in that plan. He's thrown a huge wrench in that plan because everyone wants to see how both of him and Drake are going to respond. And I could see Cole because, I mean, like, Kendrick went at Cole in the verse, but he didn't go as hard on Cole as he did Drake, obviously, because I don't think they have any real animosity. I think it's really mostly just competition, while Drake and Kendrick, there is something personal there outside of just, like, going back and forth on who's the better rapper. But I could see Cole, and I hope this doesn't happen, I could see Cole kind of being like friendly and, you know, just being like, you know, I don't really want no confrontation like that. He's not really a big confrontational guy. So I could see him kind of bowing out a little friendly way and being like, you know, and I don't want to see that at all. I don't want to see that. I know you're preparing for what is supposed to be your final album, but we know how rap retirements go. Nobody stays retired. That never happens. But like, I don't want to see J. Cole bow out friendly in a peaceful manner. You have to respond too. Because Cole, you are a greatest of all time level rapper. You're in these conversations, these top 10, top 15 lists. So I need you to respond as well. You said it yourself. You came up in a competitive era. You came up in an era where guys are competing. You and Drake are competing. You said it yourself. So don't turn into Lil Yachty when Kendrick knocks on your door. Don't turn into Lil Yachty, and I don't mean that in disrespect to Lil Yachty, but Lil Yachty was talking about how, like, you know, competition doesn't really matter to him. Like, let's all just get money. And Cole was against that. So don't now turn into Lil Yachty when Kendrick is knocking on your door and telling you to come outside. I know you wanted to retire and be cool and you know, just kind of have one last hurrah for the time being. At least maybe you come back a couple of years later. Who knows, right? But right now, that's not the time. It's not the time for peace. It's the time for war. And I don't want to see Cole just kind of bow out and be like, you know, I love Kendrick. And you know, he might respond in a way that's like, shout out to Kendrick, you know, pushing the competition. We getting our fire together. Like, you know what I mean? Like one of those songs where he's responding to Kendrick, but he's not like directly going at him. He's just kind of like, hey, I appreciate you trying to light this fire underneath me. Maybe I needed that. I don't want to see that shit. Okay. I don't. So Cole, I need you to respond as well because they're looking at you like you're the little bro. So I know Cole wanted to do things his own way and go out on his own terms, but that's just not how life works. Okay. It's not how life works. I need you, because this is supposed to be his last album. What better time to show off how strong your pen is? What better time to show off where you really are in the ranks of the all-time greats of rap than competition with Kendrick Lamar, one of the greatest ever, on your last project? What better? There's no better stakes. There never has been. So I know you wanted to do your own thing, but the time is now. But yeah, I just wanted to say, to end the video, shout out to Kendrick Lamar. I love this type of stuff in rap. I love competition. This isn't beef like, you know, Young Boy versus Dirk where they're threatening to kill each other and all this stuff. This is rap competition, and I love to see that. I love it so much. And it makes me more passionate about making videos. It makes me want to make a 50-minute video. All right, so shout out to Kendrick for all this. I hope this goes well. I hope we actually get real responses. I don't want no Instagram captions, no IG stories. No, get in the booth. That's what we want to see. That's what I want to see. So I'm super excited to see how this plays out. I'm super excited because it feels like Kendrick is really baiting the other two. And I want to see what he's got up his sleeve because he clearly has something there. And also want to add this on at the very end. I hope we don't get like gangster Drake. And what I mean by that is like, you know how like after Drake, you know, was going to drop, or he dropped For All the Dogs, and then Joe Budden said it was weak or whatever. And then like Drake kind of DM'd him threatening him, and that kind of like in like a way, like I can get you touched. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to see Drake DMing Kendrick or, you know, saying that he's going to get Kendrick whacked. No. We're not doing that. Okay. You're not King Von. Okay. You're not. No. We're getting in the studio, brother. We're in the studio with this one. So that's what I want to see. I don't want to see no weird, like, you don't want to come to so-and-so you banned from. Come on, bro. Stop it. Get in the studio. But that's going to be the end of my video. If you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Have a good day. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.